please tell me, what am I missing? What am I getting wrong?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here with your audience. Where do I start? I think pretty much everything you said is completely wrong, tilted in a direction that makes Democrats, puts a picture of Democrats as the evil ones. But except for the fact that we lost the election last year. I think Democrats can agree when we lose an election, we don't try to stop and create an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol and kill and maim Capitol police officers while trying to steal an election. What is happening in Los Angeles, and it is so unfortunate that the voice of the immigrants that have peacefully been out there trying to be heard because Donald Trump has sent an army of ICE agents without warrants, without a name, without due process, and are literally kidnapping people from our communities. In the past, ICE activities have been targeted to criminals, to individuals. They come with a warrant. They come with a name. Those people get arrested. They go to a central location. Their name gets put into a database, a searchable database, and eventually they get deported. Democrats are not opposed to deporting criminals. That we are not about that. What we are about is seeing the humanity behind the people that Trump is attacking. Easy praise.
So respectfully, nobody was killed on January 6th by any of the rioters. Also, these are not peaceful protests. I mean, we're seeing the same images, right? We're seeing cars on fire. We're seeing, burning of American flags, devastation of property. We're seeing, I saw 2 people on motorbikes driving right into lines of police officers, not where the National Guard was, just the LAPD. This is the kind of stuff that makes Americans really turn on the Democratic Party.
Capitol police officers were killed on maybe not the day of, but their injuries resulted in death. And several suicides have followed as a result. Let's be clear about that. What is happening, Los Angeles cannot be explained from a Washington, D.C. newsroom. Mm-hmm. Los Angeles is a complicated community, the second largest city in the country. It is made up of, it's a very diverse community, many different groups, different agendas. Unfortunately, what has happened is there are some violent people, instigators, that are trying to steal the message that immigrants are trying to give to the president. Sending armed troops, armed ICE agents to a community completely masked up in unmarked vehicles, refusing to give any information as to who they are, who they're representing, taking people out of their vehicles, going into school graduations and arresting parents, trying to force themselves into a elementary school to arrest children. This is the story that you're not telling. And this is the story that Americans across the United States are being robbed of listening and hearing what Donald Trump has unleashed in California. And let's be very clear, because there are many states across the country that are on welfare from the state of California. Just this year, we surpassed Japan in the global economy. We are number 4.
The riots for a minute. So you condemn unequivocally the violence?
Absolutely. The violence, nobody wants to see any violence. Nobody wants to see destruction of property. Nobody wants to see what the news media is portraying now.
Congresswoman, what is your explanation for why your party is associated with this kind of violence and why working class voters are leaving the Democratic Party for Donald Trump and why his immigration policy is so popular?
First of all, California voters are not leaving the Democratic Party for Donald Trump. Very clear about that. Democratic voters have reelected their governor after recalls and reelected him twice. So let's be clear about
Do you think he's doing
that.
a good job?
I think the governor is trying to do the best that he can. I think having Donald Trump threatening to arrest him isn't helping us. The only way that we can get things under control right now in Los Angeles is by allowing the LAPD and by allowing the locals that understand these groups and their agendas to be able to do their work and bring about, restore peace and restore order into our community. We cannot do that while ICE continues the raids, profiling people, taking U.S. citizens, taking legal residents into custody because they don't care about having a warrant. They care about the color of your skin, and that is it.
What is your take on why this remains a winning issue for Donald Trump?
It is not a winning issue
Well,
for Donald Trump.
Suggests he still has mass support for this.
Not for the, he has support for deportations for criminals. He was elected on that. We support that as Democrats. What we don't support is arresting children and going back to the last time Donald Trump was in office. If America can remember, children were being held in cages, families. Children were being held in refrigerator-type cells that was so cold that toddlers would be immobile in these locations, not being fed proper food. This is what we're talking about. The last time we saw this kind of violence in the street was 5 years ago. Who was the president then? Donald Trump.
We're going to have to leave it there, Congresswoman. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I so appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.